Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we are talking about planetary energies that have been affecting all of us, and we're going to talk all about them. That's right. Today we are talking about Uranus in retrograde. So let me give you some facts about Uranus in retrograde. So Uranus went into pre-shadow energy on May 7th, 2022. It will station and turn full retrograde on August 24th, and then it'll get out of full retrograde and go into post-shadow on January 22nd, and then it will leave post-shadow energy on May 9th and be in full circulation once again. So that's like 5 months every year that Uranus goes into retrograde. And I will say that usually this has kind of been hitting a lot of us in kind of like the summer months where we're kind of like already in that rebellious mode, like we're out of school or the kids are out of school and we get to kind of play and do our thing. And that's a really great thing. So what I will tell you is kind of the interesting part of this is that I have been seeing this in long-term relationships. I have clients, one of them has been in a marriage for 25 years, one of them has been in marriage like 15 years, one of them has been in marriage like 3 years. Prior to the 3-year mark, they were living together for like 10 years or 15 years, something like that, quite a long time. But I've also seen this in dating relationships, not just like, oh, we've been dating a year or 3 months or something like that. We're talking long-term dating relationships. Where 5 or 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, I have been seeing this more and more. And it's kind of coming out with that kind of revolution, like, oh my gosh, I'm having new thoughts and I want to change everything in my life. And they're realizing the person they're with is kind of holding them back in some way, shape, or form. And that's where I kind of go, this is really interesting. Where before they were completely dedicated to this relationship and now they're going, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm tired of this. Kind of that rebellious energy of like, I want to be able to change, or I want to change, or I want to make changes and this person isn't allowing me to. So I'm going to get rid of this person. So I've seen this in a lot of different relationships. So this is kind of like one of those, interesting. I will say that Saturn kind of governs society and our collective consciousness. But I'm seeing this on a smaller scale, which is kind of really interesting. But I'm seeing it on a smaller scale on a huge level. And like I said, there are relationships that have been going on for quite a period of time. And then all of a sudden, everybody's ready to change. Everybody's kind of like, what's been going on, I'm not happy with anymore. I'm ready to let go of this. And like I said, this is kind of not just one thing going on, or just like, oh, if they would change this one thing, I would be better, or it would be a better relationship. What I'm getting is the person that's wanting that revolution, that kind of like that change. They've been wanting to make this change, or they've been in the process of making this change for quite a while. It wasn't like just I woke up yesterday and wanted to change. No. These are people that have been wanting to change for a long period of time. They've been doing classes or reading books, kind of upgrading themselves, and now they're realizing like the person they're with are the one that's really keeping them back from where they really want to go. So that's kind of like a, interesting. I will say, I'm seeing this in, like I said, in marriages, but I also see this kind of like, these people are filing for divorce, or they're getting separated, or they're moving in some way, shape, or form, and they're kind of like, I don't want to stay where I'm at. It's not supporting me. I'm always supporting the other person, and that other person, I get for the most part, is been in either they're kind of like this, very stuck in their ways, or they don't want to change, or when they come to see me, they're like, oh my gosh, they've been wanting to leave for me for a year or more, and now you're coming for help. And it's like, does that make sense to anybody? They're coming to help, and they're like, can you help me save my relationship now? Can you help me save my marriage now? Can you help me save my family now? And it's like, when you should have been worried about this was a year ago, and you haven't made any changes, you haven't made any updates, or if you have, it's been very, very short term. And I'll tell you, if they've made upgrades at all, it's been very, very small. And it's like, now you want someone to come in and save your relationship, but you haven't been doing anything to save your own relationship. You want someone else to kind of come in and make it perfect for you. And that's where I kind of get, but I also get this as, like as a family. They're like, I want to save my family, or I want to save this relationship in a certain way. And I will tell you that the other person is ready to make some changes, and either you can get on board with the changes and help and support them, or you need to get off the bandwagon, because those changes are coming through. These people have been working really hard for long periods of time, some of them 10 or 15 years in classes, and now they're kind of like ready to make those changes. Some of them are only 2 or 3 years in classes, but they're ready to make some big changes. And that's kind of the next level for me, is that Uranus is kind of pushing that next level change. Like, you have to keep moving and remove what hasn't been working for you. And usually it's the other person in the relationship. So this is kind of an interesting part of it. Usually Uranus kind of affects more global growth and advancement. But I will say that it's one of those, I see that some, but I will say I've seen that on a smaller scale in relationships, in families, and not that that isn't a collective consciousness. It's just not as big as you normally see with Uranus. But I do see that this is going to continue to affect globally a lot of governments, people that are kind of like, I'm tired of the rules or the regulations, whatever they've been, I'm ready to make some changes. And we're going to see that not only as Uranus makes some different alignments and kind of makes some changes into some different areas. I will say that this is going to be something that we're going to see. Changes are coming, and kind of the interesting part is how fast they're coming for each person, because I can see them kind of like on their way in. If you've looked at my other video on Uranus and retrograde, I gave you some hard facts and some dates and stuff like that. Those dates still hold, and those are going to be making kind of like pushes for freedom, kind of like, and you're going to see that globally and in families as well, kind of like pushing that side of like, I'm ready to make some changes, I'm ready to make big changes. One of the things I think is really interesting is kind of the signs that I have been seeing most changes in are Leos and Tauruses. And so that's kind of like, they really are ready to make some, but they are usually the leaders of the pack. The bull and the lion are ready to kind of make those changes, and then everybody else will kind of make their way as well. I will say one of the things that has been kind of like people looking for individual growth are now kind of like, anything that's standing in that way, I'm moving it out of my way, and I'm not going to let this kind of like continue this direction, or I'm going to do that as well. And then also at the same time, we also have Mercury right at this time getting ready to go into retrograde, or kind of like in pre-shadow right now, of making some changes, and that's going to push people even further into this rebellious stage. And I will guarantee you they have been talking about this, because usually what happens is Mercury going into retrograde really kind of pushes this energy. So let's talk about a couple of these changes. I will say there is a lot of people really dealing with right now a lot of financial issues, a lot of things that prices have gone up everywhere across the board. And I know someone told me the other day, well, gas prices are going back down. Yeah, but they're not going down as fast as we would like. And they're kind of holding their own right now. So it's one of those, indifferent to the point I was like, yes, things seem to be getting financially better in the gas department, but there's a lot of prices going up across the board in food production. And that's kind of where people are kind of like, wow, things are costing me way more. And so that's when you get more of that rebellious stage in any country. When things start costing you more, or your money doesn't take you near as far as it used to be, that's when people are kind of like, not only do they see the effects of that, but they also kind of see the aftershocks of it. Like, you know, I normally bought groceries and it was $100 or $150, and now it's $300 or $400, and that's every 2 weeks or every week, and it's like constantly putting out more money. So that's kind of the interesting part of this, is that there's a lot of money being exchanged right now, and it just doesn't have the same value. And so that really will kind of push that after effects afterwards of like, my money's not going near as far. And so that people get in more that rebellious stage of kind of standing up and going, this isn't working for me, or let's make some changes. I see this across the board, not just in the United States. I see this in other countries as well. I've talked to other clients in other countries, and a lot of people are very unhappy with what's going on. And so it's one of those, I think that's interesting that it's all happening and the planets are really calling this energy. The planets are really going, yep, this is what's happening. This is how we're dealing with things. So let's pull some angel cards and get us a little bit deeper insight into all things Uranus in retrograde. This is the first one coming up. This one is Aquarius, and this is all about collaboration. And collaboration is coming because I see this kind of people. I had 2 clients in that have met in class, I want to say like a year and a half ago, and they met after a reading. One was coming in, one was going out, and they were able to reconnect, and both of them are going through a divorce right now, or one's just finished a divorce and one's about to start a divorce. So that's kind of one of those energies of like, this is changing. Next one is a Neptune, and this is all about vision. I will tell you that a lot of people are changing their visions of what they want or what they desire in their life, and anything that's stepping in that way to not allow that to happen, they are removing it. Say that be a spouse or a relationship or even a job. I've seen a lot of people change jobs. The 4th house is all about our home, and this is where a lot of people feel completely stuck and that they're not moving forward. So I have seen this, like I said, a lot in the divorces. A lot of people that have been in relationships for long periods of time finally saying, I've had enough and I'm not dealing with this anymore. And if the other person isn't promoting my changes, or at least supporting me while I make my changes, then we're calling this off. This is opposition, and this is all about confrontation. And this is what they've been dealing with right now. Is kind of like they've been confronting this person going, you've got to make some changes. What's been going on isn't continuing to go on, and we are going to make some changes. And that person is kind of like, oh, I'll make a few changes, or they haven't made any changes at all. And that's what's really affecting them right now, of kind of like, this isn't changing, and so I'm ready to make some changes myself. This is serious, and this is nurturing. I will tell you that a lot of people are kind of doing that self-nurturing right now of, if you're not willing to support me, I'm going to support myself, or I'm going to find other people to support my ideas. And that's where I said, like, the 2 clients coming out and kind of reconnecting after all this time, it's kind of like, we are ready to make some changes. And even though they haven't really talked in a year, it's one of those, both of them are going through almost the same thing at the same time. This is Aries, and this is all about acting. And this is what I get, is a lot of people are in action about all of this. A lot of people are in action of this right now, of just like making the changes, making the improvements right now, and not wanting to kind of change. And I would say part of that may be coming in because we've also got Mars in the sign of Virgo right now, and so that's kind of like pushing a little bit of energy in that area of like self-love and changes. This is the 9th house, and this is all about exploration, and that's kind of like they're exploring their options. Like I said, I'm seeing this on small scale in families, but I'm also seeing this in small and large scales in countries as well. These are making changes. People are kind of making those changes. This is dignified. This is all about strength. And a lot of times, like, normally they would kind of like stop this at a certain point, like, I'm tired of these changes, or I've changed as much as I possibly can or choose to at this point. But I also feel like a lot of them are not just going like, oh, I'm ready to let this go, or I'm ready to release all of this. I guarantee you they are kind of making those changes and have the strength to see them out. This is the 6th house to sustainability. I will tell you that this is coming in strong. A lot of people are supporting people in a lot of these changes. I'm seeing a lot of families that were like, oh, we wouldn't support you before, but now we really are. And I see a lot of support in the countries as well, of kind of like there's a lot of people that are kind of feeling that unrest and kind of like, I'm ready to make some changes and I'm not willing to stay at the status quo. This is the North Node, and this is all about the future. This is where the future is going. This is where I feel like our future is going. A lot of people are making changes. A lot of people are making upgrades to their energy. And this is something that, like I said, it's not small scale in any way, shape, or form. People are making changes. People are changing their ideas, their philosophies, and they've learned more. It's not like, oh, I've just woke up one morning and decided to change my thinking. What they've done is over time, they've educated themselves or meditated enough or whatever it is, gone classes, books, other things, and they're kind of ready to make those changes. And those changes are sticking. They are sticking, and they're not going to back down. This is not something that's going to go away. I guarantee you, even when Uranus gets out of retrograde, there are going to be a lot different energy out in the world than we have right now. And I'm looking forward to our new future. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.